Welcome to the Saturday edition of the Field of 68 Best Bets Show presented by BetRivers. Yes, we are the three-man weave. Yes, two of us have spinny hats. Yes, one of us has a bucket hat and is outside. That's Matthew Cox. Matthew, explain yourself and give me a takeaway of why you are in Florida and why you are wearing a bucket hat.
I'm tired of picking losers and the people deserve winners, and I need to do whatever possible to change something, Kai. The status quo wasn't working, so we're going to get down to Naples. Florida Matty Naples is back in effect. He's outside repping the Sun Beach hat, Jimbo. So I apologize. I'm not participating in our Spinning Saturdays, but there's more important things at stake here, and that's winners.
Yeah. Jim.
Here's what I'll say, Matt. If you don't wear the spinny hat and don't bring winners, there's going to be hell to pay. So
I know.
There's a lot of rumors going around. If you're going to go anti-spinny hat on Spinny Saturday,
you can add me to Patrick Ewing in the list of potential hot seat candidates right now. So
yeah, we're going to have to ask
you'll see me in those rumors.
Fire you, but we'll ask you to resign.
Matt, please resign.
Hey, Kai, my takeaway is that I want VCU in my tournament. I like that team.
Yeah.
They're athletic. They're fun. With Ace Baldwin, they actually have an offense. They lit up Richmond, maybe one of the more disappointing teams out there. I like VCU. I hope they get in. They're kind of right by the cut line per our own Fielding the 68 bracketology show. So
nice
give
plug.
me the Rams.
Yeah. I hope so too, Jim. I hope to make it too. But you know what? I'm stopping the conversation right now. I want to go right to the rundown. I want to talk games, fellas. Yep. I want to get into the nitty gritty, and we're starting with Texas Tech at Texas, the revenge game for Chris Beard. I hope the Longhorn faithful show out for Texas today. Matt, it was interesting. Did you see the Fran Fraschilla tweet? Apparently a bunch of Texas Tech students bought season tickets a long time ago for Texas. There's a whole refund process trying to happen so Texas Tech doesn't overrun the stadium. Hilarious. Awesome. I would expect nothing less from Texas Tech. Who do you like in this game from a matchup perspective, though?
I actually like Tech, and people are like, whoa, you just took Texas very confidently last time these two teams played in Lubbock, which turned out to be a foolish endeavor. I watched Texas a lot the last few weeks, and you look at just some of the roster issues they're having. Obviously, the Trey Mitchell exodus or sort of MIA situation is odd. I know he wasn't really a big factor anyway, and Timmy Allen's been their bell cow up front. Jim, they've gotten some better play from their guards, but still, it has not been consistent all season, and that offense does not excite me. And even the defense, I think, can be beat. I know Texas Tech is a different team outside of the friendly confines of Lubbock, but this is more about Texas for me than it is about Texas Tech. So I like the Red Raiders.
Yeah, I'm not with Matt here. I think this is Texas's game. They've actually been pretty good 3 of their last 4, Matt. The win at Oklahoma, a desperate Oklahoma team that was still full strength then. Yep. They beat Kansas at home. They dominated Iowa State at home. I actually think they've trended up a little bit, and without Trey Mitchell, it might help their pecking order, figuring out their roles. The concern coming in this year was how are they going to feed so many mouths offensively, and now it's less of a concern. So I'm kind of leaning Texas here. I think they get the revenge, and Texas Tech, man, away from home, just a different team. That matters quite a bit.
2-4 straight up on the road in Big 12 play is Texas Tech. You're right, Jim. They're not the same away from Lubbock. Also, Christian Bishop, man, had a great game for Texas against Oklahoma when they won on the road there. He was impressive. I wish Dylan Disu would play more. Still don't really understand that. Maybe he plays more in this game against Texas Tech. I lean towards Texas as well. Now, 3.5 points seems like a lot to lay, but you have to think the Texas Austin faithful are out in full force today. At least I hope so. I hope we get another good crowd here. I hope Texas gets it done. I love the rivalry. The split series just feels right between these two. Moving on down the line, Tennessee is going to Arkansas. Tennessee has been, Jim, Rocky Top solid lately. 5 straight wins.
Sure.
They've won 8 of the last 9. They're knocking on the door of a 2 seed, but Arkansas has been white hot too. Winners of 10 of 11, 10-1 against the spread the last 11. Do they get it done today at Bud Walton?
Yep, I think they do. I think this is a little bit of a letdown for Tennessee off that big Kentucky spanking. Arkansas is an awesome team at home. Best bet here, guys, right away, early in the rundown here. -2, the Razorbacks. A team that we've had, kind of a complicated relationship with this year, but they have trended way back up after a rough early start. I think Musselman has figured out the rotation. And again, I talked pecking order with Texas. I think Arkansas has it figured out as well. So with Tennessee coming in off that high, maybe the emotional letdown of going on the road, I like the Razorbacks here, Matt. I have a feeling, as always, you're going to be against me.
No, I'm not. My price certainly indicates I should be against you, but my gut tells me you're right. And the only reason why I'm not betting is because I've just been a stubborn backer of my Vols, and they've shown signs of life. And like I said, they haven't really fallen out of favor with the analytic rankings. They're just kind of a tough nut to crack, Kai. A situational bet, if you will. I think Jim has the winner here. Just watching that Arkansas team at home, that crowd is bananas crazy. Mm-hmm. And that matters. I think this season, like the elite home courts, I'm just a little bit scared of. So, and Arkansas certainly falls into that group.
Arkansas's right side as well. The spot plays up for them. Tennessee off that Kentucky win. That was a fantastic effort. Arkansas's defense, by the way, number 1 in the SEC. Now, shooting luck is part of the story, but they had the athletes to pressure ball handlers. It kind of makes sense. And their offense, the veteran leadership in the backcourt with no tie, with likes, they're poised. They won't turn it over, I don't think, be bothered by Tennessee as much. So I like them here at home as well. Moving on, Big Ten battle. Illinois is at Michigan State, and Illinois has now flipped to a favorite. Matt, they're -1.5 at BetRivers. They're off a Rutgers loss. Michigan State has dropped 3 of 4, and they're 1-4 against the spread in the last 5. Talked about how I don't like Michigan State very much. Who do you like in this game?
Torn. I think I've been a little bit higher Michigan State than both of you, but I still love Illinois. I keep trying to nudge them up in my Big Ten totem pole close to the top, even though Purdue, I think, still has the slight edge in my opinion. I love the Illini here. Now, Lansing can be a house of horrors, Jim. I mean, the Breslin Center is a tough place to go in and win. The students are packed there around the lower bowl. I've been to many a game there, and that's being in that environment, it's not a place you want to confidently back a road Big Ten team. But I think Illinois has the chops to go in there and get a win. That's my lean, but no official play.
Yeah, I think the big story from Michigan State is AJ Hoggard. He's dealing with an injury, and he's been much, much better than Tyson Walker at the point guard spot this year, which, hey, we were wrong. We whiffed on that. We were thinking Walker would come in and be a real presence for them, but it's been a little turnover prone, not as confident shooting the ball offensively. Hoggard racks up assists at, I think, close to the best rate in the country. It might be number 1 in the country, his assist rate. Wow. So he's been outstanding, but he might be banged up. I just don't really trust this Michigan State team right now. They've had some bad stretches at the end of halves, definitely both times against Penn State, first and second half of that game. I think Illinois is just a better team. So I'm leaning that way.
Great point with Michael Rizzo in the chat here. How do you fade a team that gets their home field apparel drop today? Yeah. You don't. Illinois,
it's
man.
2 points at least. Yeah.
Yep.
We're talking about game 1 between these two. 60 possessions, first of all, extremely low pace here. No Kofi Coburn in that game. Illinois still won. They led by as many as 15. I don't think Sparty can stop Illinois'. I don't think Sparty can score on Illinois' defense. Now with Kofi in the game, I think it's theirs. I think Illinois gets this one done. And also they needed to keep pace with Purdue in the standings race in the Big Ten.
You can't Pac-12 get 15 to them without Kofi. What do you mean?
Yeah, I know. And we saw them lose to Northwestern with Nance. I'm just not a huge fan of that team. Oregon at Arizona. Huge game here. And Jim, wouldn't it be so classic if Oregon just won this game outright? They lose to Cal at home. They beat a better team at home. They lose to Arizona State on the road. They beat a better team on the road. Do you think it can happen?
Yeah, absolutely. Oregon's shown the ceiling. They went to UCLA and won. They went to USC and won back to back on that LA trip. And it just maybe is a team that can play up to its competition. They almost beat Baylor at home when Baylor was rolling and fully healthy in December. So they've played up against these high quality teams. I think their switching defenses can give Arizona's young guards a little bit of issue. And maybe Arizona will take them a little lightly because they saw what just happened on that first game of this trip for Oregon. So that's a concern. Matt, I did see that I think Oregon's won this matchup like 6 straight times. Now, this is a young Arizona team, but perhaps there is a little bit of vengeance from last year, frustration after losing to the Ducks. I still think it's too high. I really like the Ducks plus 13.5, which is still nerve-wracking, but it's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think there's something to the fact where teams have proven they can win big games on the road multiple times. Like VCU is a premier case. Oregon, now they haven't stacked up the quantity of big road wins that VCU has, but you went to UCLA, won there. You went to USC, you won there. You swept the mountain trip. Like these dudes can win on the road. Like I know the Arizona State game was terrible, but yeah, they shot like crap and the game sort of got out of hand. I think they compete here. I do. College game day, Dana Altman, you're right. You said it on the other show, backs against the wall. Everything I think screams Ducks. Early money's brought it down though, Kai. So if you're trying to hop in now, I believe it's sitting at 12. No, sorry. It's down to, no, it's back to 13. So bounce up to, I hit it now at 13. I think it's hit 12 an hour ago or something.
If it's something you care about, the difference here between the KenPom spread of 17
right,
or the actual spread of 13 indicates that they kind of want Oregon money. They could not open this game 17 where analytics rankings have it.
Yeah, definitely. And Oregon's down, of course, because they just got blown out by Arizona State. We don't think they're the 80th team and the best team in the country for KenPom, and odds makers know that too. I don't know. I'm kind of worried about the Ducks. They have tall guys, but can they really handle Koloko, Tubelis, Ballo? I don't know if Dante and Biddle are for the challenge. And if Arizona's engaged in this game, which I don't think they have any reason not to be, that's kind of scary to me. So I think we do get a Oregon home run effort here, but I'm still hesitant to take Oregon against Arizona.
Quick news update real quick. Kevin McCullough is not warming up for Texas Tech. I think that was expected. Second game he will miss likely here. Didn't need him against Baylor. So again, injuries don't matter, but for those who think they do, there you go. Chat mob, let's obviously start off with our locks from our mobster profits as they've been so far. Pat Taylor, 10-3 on the year, folks. Make sure you're tailing him blindly. He was looking at Wake -6, Kai, hosting the Irish. I'll be honest, felt a little high to me.
Yeah.
But Notre Dame could potentially be a little bit shorthanded. I worry about teams that don't have good depth starting to fade as we get into the late dog days of February, especially with the condensed COVID schedules a lot of these guys are dealing with.
Yeah, first reaction was that spread feels high, but I think Wake can get it done. Notre Dame on the road isn't quite as good this year as they've been at home, which they've been immense at home. So I kind of lean towards Wake, even though it feels a bit high.
Jess Whalen asking about his best bet, Baylor -12. I also like the other side here. I think this is way too high. TCU team catching 12 at Baylor. What do you think?
TCU's been better against the elite teams this year. They're one of the teams that has played up when you filter for top competition. But Mike Miles was terrible last game, like outright horrendous. So maybe he's still banged up, not fully healthy. That is a concern. Nothing for me. I'm not taking anything on that game.
This is kind of terrifying. Now, our guy Tooch is asking about his two best bets, and I like both the opposites in this one. Kai, please agree with him and not with me, because if you agree with me the last few weeks, that's not gone well for you. He's looking at South Dakota hosting Western Illinois, the Leathernecks coming to town after getting smashed in the mouth by South Dakota State. Also looking at Pitt. Wants to back Pitt, Kai. Laying 3 points. I know Georgia Tech at home.
I like Georgia Tech in that game.
I do too.
I don't think Pitt should be laying 3. So I think it should be a pick, honestly. And I know Pitt's been playing a lot better, but Georgia Tech's not completely hopeless. The other game, Matt, I know you like the Leathernecks. I kind of like South Dakota. I've bought all the way in on the Coyotes. I think they're really good.
Fair. Jim, Ethan Wright asking about the Georgia State, Georgia Southern quasi back-to-back. Just played Thursday. Georgia State continues to roll, man. That defense is, they're vaunted up front. Do they keep it rolling, or do you go with the flip-flop here on the other team? Jim likes the under.
Second best bet here, Matt. Best bet. Another early reveal. Under 133.5. The first game had 142 points. I think that's a little dicey. The Georgia State defense has been really good, Matt, and they're getting killed on 3-point splits. At some point, that's going to go down. I think Georgia Southern scores like 55 here. As long as Georgia State doesn't go nuts, I think we're in good shape. So that's my second best bet. I've got 2 today. That's it. So they've both been already revealed.
Good. Like to love spilling some of the beans early here. Kai, Matthew Akers asking about Clemson, Louisville. I don't know why you'd even look at this game. This is an ultimate skip, move on down the line. Louisville with their issues, and Clemson is the walking wounded right now. Your thoughts?
It's a fascinating cat, Matthew. You have Hunter Tyson out still for Clemson. They've looked terrible without him. But you have Louisville, who's in complete disarray. Malik Williams might be in the doghouse, might not be in the doghouse. Samuel Williamson might be in the doghouse, might not be in the doghouse. I don't know what to do for this game. I'd probably lean towards Clemson. Even without Tyson, they seem like the more cohesive team here. I'm not super scared of the center, so probably lean towards Clemson.
Just when you have Malik Williams and Sam Williamson having the coaches DNPs and the quotes that you're getting out of that camp, it's just, that's a hard stay away from me. Hey, quick update here. I think this may be just more hearsay, but the Tom Crean firing could be like as soon as today. So look for that line to probably crash.
Mayhem.
You think it'll crash?
I think people bet against that stuff, right? Failed to report an altercation between assistants. Seems like there's some coaching riffs.
It wouldn't crash then, right? It would take off.
Oh, sorry, take off the other way. Yeah.
Okay.
That's an excuse, in my opinion. That's an excuse. They're looking for an excuse to fire him with cause.
100%.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Also, I like Ole Miss anyways in that game. So Ole Miss -3. I like that.
Go Land Shark it is. Jim, one of our top 10 fans, looking at Troy. 4-point dog. Why are they a 4-point dog at Coastal? It's because Troy defies the odds every time they take the floor. Duke Miles is back to his will he, won't he, aka in this case, won't he play? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who shows up for Scott Cross. They play well. That's kind of where I'm at in this game.
Yep. I have a hard time fading them because of some of the lineup ins and outs that they have going on, but they've been excellent. We've kind of been waiting for the Scott Cross renaissance in the Sun Belt. We didn't time it up very well this year.
No, we didn't. We missed it.
I think we were ready for it, but yeah, I'm staying away on that game. I don't have anything.
Yeah, it's been sitting at -4 Coastal, no action either way. Hard to stay away from me. Kai, Virginia, Miami under, asked about by Chris Garvin. Obviously Virginia unders are a pretty obvious angle, but it's been bet down from 130 to 127. So you've missed a lot of the value. Any take there?
I'd probably lean towards the under. I usually do in the Virginia games. Yeah, it could be a slog. I lean that way, Matthew.
Jim, our Beach Boys, the Paris 11, asking why is this team running away from the beach? Up to +5 right now. They are traveling to Cal UC Santa Barbara. I don't know why my screen has that labeled so funky. Travel is in quotations, not really a far travel. Do you think this spread's too high?
Yes, I do. Beach has been rolling. They cover every single game. I think they've covered every Big West game so far. Santa Barbara has not been on point. Ajare Sani likely still out. That's too many points. I think the Beach gets another cover, probably even outright win.
I did miss this team. I'll be honest. If it was serious steam, it's probably injury related, and the people betting the injury team and other stuff this season. And I'll be honest. Yeah. So even if it is, I don't care. The Beach is deep, and I'd wait for it. Hop it now. If guys are out, they missed. They were awesome without Hampton for a few games, so no big deal. Kai, here we are, interested in both Bradley and Bryant. Little alliterative B's here. The Braves are awesome, even though their record doesn't quite indicate that. They're laying 8 to their crosstown rivals, Illinois State. Got bet down. Some money coming in on the Redbirds. Your thoughts?
I think this is the first game without Dan Miller for Illinois State. Second game? Okay. I'm not sure that matters.
They competed last game, right? Against Northern Iowa, right?
In a rivalry game, I tend to think Illinois State actually competes in this one, and they've been feisty as a dog. So I'd probably stay away from laying the 8 with Bradley. Bryant, I'd probably lean towards Bryant. They're a freaking wagon. Even though it's 16, they could blow Fairleigh Dickinson out of the water.
I think they do blow Fairleigh Dickinson out.
Yeah.
All right. 2 from Austin. Like, guys, just tell me when you want to get back to the outline here. I'm locked and loaded in my zone.
That's your choice. All
right, fine.
Give me this last one here.
All right. 2 for
Jim.
Bundle. Jim, James Madison, UNC Wilmington, Kai, Sacramento State, Idaho State. Both of you just rolled your eyes because I know we have no real take on either of these matchups. So sorry.
My take would be I kind of like UNC Wilmington. They're off the loss to Towson. Yep. It's going to be a lively crowd. Trask has been an awesome place to play this year. And James Madison, they're still like in that will they or won't they get to play in the postseason. They're trying for the appeal process, trying to get there. I just don't trust that team with some of the injuries they've had. Wilmington actually has played quite well recently. So I would lean towards the Seahawks there. Bounce back.
Sacramento State's covered 1 game in the last 15 or so, and Idaho State is looking pretty damn good now. They're starting to trend up to where we thought they'd be in preseason. I lean their way. 4.5's getting a little high, but still lean their way.
Quick whisper on the Idaho State. I did a little bit of reading this morning. I think Tariq Cool may have got injured, and that coincided with the big Northern Colorado comeback. If he is indeed out for the Bengals, you can bet there'll be a multi-point move. He's been pretty key for that team. All right, back to the... Wait, what'd you say?
No one's moving that game multi-points.
Oh, people bet on injuries all the time. I mean, they're all idiots. But hey, I haven't picked winners in weeks, so who am I to talk? Kai, back to outline.
All right, let's talk Big Ten. Let's talk Iowa at Ohio State. Iowa, Jim, all metrics, no resume, 0 Q1 wins on the Hawkeye team sheet. This is a huge game for them. Can they beat Ohio State at Ohio State?
Nope. Paper tiger. I don't like Iowa on the road. I don't like Iowa against gavel. Hey, he asked, I answered. I don't like Iowa against good teams. Like their metrics are definitely inflated by blowing out inferior competition. Look at Maryland, look at Nebraska, go back to their non-conference portion of the season. The fact that they have no Q1s pretty much exemplifies like that's what they've been this year. I don't trust them going on the road. It's a tougher number to lay with some of the, still no Justice suing back for Ohio State, but they're used to that. I like the Buckeyes there. Not strong enough to lay it, but that's my gut.
Yeah, price is sharp. I'm not going to add anything here, Kai. -5 is pretty much spot on. Total is 153. So I think it comes down to how much does Ohio State want to keep this to a crawl, or are they going to get up and down and try to attack in transition? How efficiently do they score against a relatively porous Iowa defense, especially away from the friendly confines? I guess I'd lean Ohio State.
Ohio State's Big Ten wins, 7 of them. Penn State twice, Minnesota twice, Nebraska, Northwestern, Maryland.
Now do that with Iowa.
That's not many good wins. I know. I'm just saying Ohio State doesn't have many good wins in the Big Ten. They beat Michigan on the road. They beat Wisconsin at home. I think it's possible for Iowa to win this game, but they have to outscore Ohio State. And that's not saying it's a simplistic take there, but they have to literally outgun them because they're not going to stop them. Ohio State's going to put up 1.5 points per possession, whatever. So you need to shoot. They can do that. It's probably a little bit too much to ask, especially on the road. Alabama at Kentucky is our next game. Matthew, good bounce back chance for Kentucky. And Jim mentioned that Arizona-Oregon discrepancy in the spread at KenPom. KenPom has this game Kentucky minus 10. We're seeing it closer to 7 for odds makers. That makes more sense to me. And we know Alabama sucks on the road. They lost to Mizzou and Georgia on the road for crying out loud. Matt, where do you lean in this game?
Well, I think Ty Washington's the key part of this handicap. If he's going to be out as long as the early reports were after getting injured in Florida, we saw how much he means to this team. Just every time Kentucky's had one of those guards out of the rotation, I tend to trust them less. I did lean Bama at 7. It's been bet down to the 6.5. I can endorse Bama at 6.5. I think you're trying too hard to bet on Bama positive regression if you're coming in at that price, but 7 or higher. I think Bama, Jim, seems like a vintage game where they get up and they play well. Are they going to ever make shots at this point? Maybe they're just not a good shooting team and we just need to move on and, reframe how we think about them. What do you think?
They're not a good shooting team, but they're better than 3 for 30. And that's what they shot against Kentucky in the first meeting. That is insane. A little bit of the old road flip-flop here, Matt, with the Alabama took the loss in Tuscaloosa to this Kentucky team. And there's injury questions, obviously, about Ty, but there's whispers Severe Wheeler has a wrist issue as well. So if they're without both, then I would be okay taking the 6.5. But I think Wheeler will probably end up playing, even if he's a little bit limited. They need him out there. So at 7, I would have been okay with it here because I think I like the spot enough for Alabama and with no Ty, but waiting to see what Wheeler's status is before I do anything with 6.5.
Yeah, Bama was pretty respectable with Kentucky first game. Then UK just stepped on the gas and got up 17 and was over. Alabama got Shibla in foul trouble in game 1. That was key. Can they do it again? I'm not so sure. He still had like 15 boards and did just fine. I think Kentucky can stop Alabama, not the other way around. So I'm kind of leaning towards Kentucky here. Next game. Wow, what an awesome game to have on the slate, fellas. North Texas at UAB, the battle for Conference USA. These teams are 43 and 44 in KenPom, right next to each other. And Jim, North Texas still has a chance in that large. This would go a long way if they get this Q1 win. UAB won early in January. Do they get the flip-flop revenge win here?
Yes, I love this North Texas team. The first game had some frustrating shooting luck for them. On the other end, UAB, Quan Jackson made like 3 threes, and he was going into that game like 2 for 25. I watched it. It was mega frustrating. Now they're getting some points at home. North Texas is a really tough team to blow out, Matt. So I think the real risk is if there's like free throws late and they extend and win by 5 or 7. But I don't think this is going to be any sort of a 10-point game either way. Give me the points. I think these teams are basically equal. Love the revenge angle. Love Grant McCasland. North Texas, mean green for me.
Yeah, I mean, UAB off of the unleashing holy fury revenge on Rice. That's either hey, we're back on track, or that was just a 1-game spot situational thing. If you look just prior to that, Kyle, we saw UAB started to come back down to earth. And North Texas has done nothing but make me look like a fool. So I'm with Jim. I'm more inclined to take the points here in what should be a relatively low scoring, ugly game. UAB's defense is terrifying, but I do not trust that team on offense. It's basically if they don't get second chance points, if they don't make tough contested shots, which they can do and they have done at times this year. But Grant McCasland as a dog, I like that angle.
Yeah, and coming around on North Texas.
Everybody's coming around. Well, I'm not.
The problem in the first game, UAB hit shots and they crushed the glass. They owned the offensive rebounding, which was weird. And North Texas, on the other hand, couldn't get a second chance to save their life. Very strange. They missed outside shots too. They missed free throws. It was a terrible game for North Texas. Now played 60 possessions. They get down. They're kind of like the Virginia team, 16 seed upset, where it's hard to come back from a deficit. But I think they get it done here too on the road here. I think they get the revenge spot. worth noting, their last game against Florida Atlantic, 56 possessions. I mean, North Texas is controlling pace in every single game. This one's going to be slow. That favors the dog here at +4. St. Louis at Davidson, A10 matchup. Jim, tough matchup for SLU here. The Davidson's offense feels like they can kind of tear them apart. What say you?
Yeah, I like Davidson here. I think SLU, they had a nice little run in kind of late January into early February, got up to where they are in analytics rankings that has depressed this line down to 2. But in like mid-January, I think this would have been Davidson -5 or 6. They've just struggled as a big favorite in league play, which has sort of taken their ranking down. I still trust Davidson, Matt. And I think the fact that they can rebound defensively and keep SLU off the glass is pretty key. So I like Davidson -2 here quite a bit, actually.
Love Davidson -2. Was going to add it as my best bet. I was just certain it was going to be bet up by this point. The Silver Fox, Kai, 5-1 against the spread against Travis Ford since Mr. Ford arrived at SLU. So I think I look at Davidson as potentially having issues against super athletic teams like Rhode Island is actually an odd bugaboo that's been a thorn in their side in recent years. SLU kind of built the same way the last couple of seasons, but for some reason, McKillop owns Ford. And I think that matchup angle holds today, the better team in a pretty good spot. So I think Davidson's a no-brainer.
2 4-factor matchup angles that favor Davidson here. Davidson leads the league in free throw rate. SLU fouls a ton, and they've always fouled a ton. They're going to send them to the line a lot. Davidson is the best defensive rebounding team in the league to combat SLU's offensive rebounding edge. 2 good factors in Davidson's favor. I lean their way as well at -2.5. Chat mob, round 2. Round it up, Matthew Cox. What do we got?
All right, ready? Dig in, buckle up. Hey, I'm going to throw you guys for a loop here. My guy, Mitchell Harrison, hopping in the chat. Imaginary Mitch to both of you, by the way, who you've never met, but I always cite his logic and intel.
He's not real.
Yeah, he actually might be. He might be. He's got a prop bet, though, and he's been crushing prop bets all year. I can attest for my side betting wager at BetRivers, of course. A dang good one. Over 1.5 threes made today, -108 at most shops. He averages over 2 makes a game against a Wake Forest team that's probably going to key in on Hub and Wesley. So there it is. Boom. Thoughts? Concerns? No opinions? All right, we're going down.
Market. Not doing
seems logical.
I'm going down into your rabbit hole. I can find value at this point. Hey, everyone's asking about Towson and Charleston, the Tigers and the Cougars. I think Towson feels like a no-brainer here, but this line's high, awfully high.
Is it that high? I don't think it's that high.
It's up to 4. Charleston,
it's fine.
3.5. Yeah.
Check on John Meeks there. May have gotten injured last game. Obviously, if he's out, he's worth like 5 points. So if the odds makers are privy there, I think the line's about right.
I think the line's okay right where it's at. And if Meeks is out, then it's way too low. That's what I'd say.
Kai, sacred thoughts. I can't read this handwriting. That username's a little bit confusing to me. Western Michigan, Buffalo. Buffalo is tremendous at blowing out bad teams, and Western Michigan, while they have, I would say, 2.5 competent players, certainly falls into that cluster of bad basketball team.
Spread feels super high.
Yeah,
we're talking almost 20 points for a conference game. Western Michigan's not, well, they're pretty bad, but they're not like totally incompetent. I kind of lean their way against Buffalo. Not super stoked to take them though.
Jim Kenny Ray says IUPUI unders. I feel like that goes without saying. But we probably should put our stamp of approval on that. I don't even know what the total is. Can't possibly put a number low enough.
Defending pretty well this year too. So I think some people have been all over the IUPUI team totals this year, and sure, I'm okay with that as well.
And Kai, Ken also looking at this from a very shrewd handicapping lens. This next one, Washington covered at USC. Now they're catching more points against UCLA. Kind of likes them to continue riding that streak. What do you think?
Yeah, 17 points is crazy, especially the way the Huskies have been playing in Pac-12. I think I lean towards Washington.
Well, here's some important news. Baylor is without Adam Flagler and LJ Cryer today. So that will affect that handicap if you're interested.
Yikes.
I guess get off or get on if you're looking to trail injuries. I don't do the latter.
I already liked TCU, so +12 seems like a great bet.
Ryan Abramowitz, our boy Jim, asked about Northeastern Hofstra and Georgetown Villanova. The latter, I don't know how you can possibly back Georgetown, but they are sort of this Houdini late game press backdoor nonsense cover machine at times. But their defense is porous. I can't possibly trust them here.
We saw Villanova succumb to that against St. John's. They're up 20 and almost lost that game in the final 3.5 minutes. So maybe they are prone to that pressure, but It's just wild to see Georgetown is a 20-point dog in
20 points.
I believe it's only. I tried to look this up last night. I think it's only happened once before. It was in 1999 against UConn that won the national title that year. They were a 20.5-point dog, and they did not cover at that point. But
Khalid El-Amin.
And Georgetown did compete in that first game. I think they're up like 10 first half, and then Nova's like, "Oh, we probably should start playing now." And then they put them away late.
20's too many, but
I agree. I'm not laying it, but screwed it. That's kind of where I ended up. Kai Northeastern Hofstra, are you in the screw Northeastern camp akin to the Georgetown take at this point?
I hate Northeastern so much this year.
Yeah, we all do.
11.5 is a lot. That's a lot. I'd probably lean towards Northeastern.
Back next season. He's bounced back next season. This year's a throwaway, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with you, actually. I need a point guard.
Jim, Fondel's got 3. So take your pick, Kai. Pick one of the other. Boston College at Syracuse, North Texas. We talked about that one. Dayton at St. Joe's. So Jim, BC, Syracuse going to you. Kai, you're getting Dayton at St. Joe's. I don't really have a hot take in either. I'll be honest.
Yeah, BC's been pretty feisty as an underdog. The performance at Notre Dame was really impressive. They scored more than you would expect. That zone is hopeless for Syracuse at this point, but they could just shoot the crap out of the ball and cover. So that's a little too volatile. I think Syracuse is a tough team to bet for me this year because of their shooting and how reliant they are on that.
And BC is getting Post back today, who I think is actually kind of a key guy against a pretty porous front line in Syracuse. So timely injury note there on my feed. Kai, thoughts on Joe's Dayton?
I lean towards Joe's. Dayton's been awesome lately. They're like not super far away from the tournament. I mean, they still kind of are, but like
they have like a JV Rutgers resume.
Yeah,
like some horrible losses, but awesome,
great wins. Yeah, it's crazy. But I think 7's a bit too high here. I think St. Joe's is my side lean.
Yeah, St. Joe is one of those high variance teams where just because of the talent they have or a superstar like Jordan Hall, they can play with anyone in a given moment. So if he's hot, 7 will certainly feel like a hefty mountain to climb for the Flyers. Where did I lost my place here in my outline? There it is. Jim Lonty asking about North Dakota State. We love backing the Bison at home. Is it too short?
I liked this first line. I was like, oh, UMKC +7. I kind of like that. And I looked an hour later and it was 5 already. Like people hammered it down. So at this point, I'm kind of just staying away. Kai says over.
Over.
I don't disagree with Kai. I think Kai's onto something there. Kai, nice. I'll stay right with you. Sure. You need that boost of confidence. I'm always here to provide it for you. I am your spirit animal.
You are.
But Mr. Medvets, Jake Medvets, asking if Cal catching points against Utah is a good look. I like the other side. I think the Utes are, not trending up, but they got a big win against Stanford. I think they keep that roll. Not a Cal.
I like Cal +2.
You're I don't think Cal.
I'm not sure they should be a dog, even without Kelly.
Andre Kelly, good luck to you. That's all I'll say.
They beat Oregon.
And the Pac-12 is weird. You can't you could take any team and say this team beat that team or that team lost to that team. And
this is not Utah's year. Next year is Utah's year.
Fair.
I like
it's not Utah. This year. It's not this
Jim's
year.
Right there. Jim, Tim Kafer. How about the ancient eight? Talk some Ivies here. Penn Brown and Cornell Harvard. Any takes on either of those two?
Cornell Harvard is about as big as it gets for making the Ivy tournament. Those two are basically locked into that fight for the 4 spot. I kind of lean towards Harvard. They got Tritout back yesterday. No Ledlum, but they're getting closer and closer to full strength. And that team full strength is just better than Cornell. So what was the other one, Matt?
Harvard, yes, or Penn Brown. Sorry, you just talked about Cornell Harvard.
I like Penn better, but they had a disappointing final 3 minutes yesterday where they let Yale get away from them.
Jelani Williams is out.
And Jelani Williams, a key injury for Penn. Penn's been banged up all year. It's kind of tough to get a read on them.
He matters.
He does matter. Agree. Kai, Graham Haynes asking about Xavier UConn. I have no read on either one of these teams. Thoughts?
Without Nate Johnson, it's scary to back Xavier. I liked Xavier at 6.5, 7, but Jim reminded me Johnson's probably out. UConn, I still don't think UConn's that great. And Xavier beat him the first game. Say what you will about that. UConn has not been beating teams by a lot of points lately. I think 8 points is the max they've won last whatever games, not named Georgetown. So I'd probably lean towards Xavier.
Under.
Yeah. I think Jim's got, I agree with Jim. 140 seems very, very high for
without Johnson.
Without Johnson. Yep. Second game out for the X-Men. And I just don't trust that offense as much outside of Cintas Center. Strolling through the chat here, I think I've hit all the main boards. I always discriminate against the extra because they've treated me so poorly this season. I'm trying to find a couple of juicy ones. Oh, hey, here's one. Just came through. Main board, Santa Clara, Gonzaga. I love the over, and the Paris is onto that. I was on the over in the first matchup. It sailed over. For some reason, Santa Clara Kai likes to run with Gonzaga. Would you take over 163.5?
Sure.
I took the over with Gonzaga Pepperdine and it did not get close. So
yeah.
I'm a little scared. Their defense has been so much better lately.
Yeah.
Trying to find a few more here. Grand Canyon, Mexico State, Jim. I know you have a good pulse on the Lopes after you attended live. They're going on the road.
Nope, they're hosting.
They're hosting. So the Lopes will be loud and proud. You got the thoughts there?
I kind of like New Mexico State. I just think they're better this year. They got swept 3 times by Grand Canyon, the double matchup and then the tournament. And I think New Mexico State gets them back this year. They've already won once. I think they get them a second time here.
Yeah, I love backing the Aggies when they struggle in non-con because Chris Shan's always, sort of rope-a-dopes us to start and then has his team playing well by the time March rolls around. I'll throw Jets Pete a little bit of a shout out here. He's going to hype up his best bet of Gardner Webb. I'm always down to bet the running Bulldogs, Kai. I don't even know where they're playing, I'll be honest. But
they're at Presbyterian. Yeah, -1.
The Blue Hose. Yeah, I think that's short. Very short.
I like Gardner Webb too.
Very short.
Feels like an under game to me too.
Yeah.
Jim, are we going to support our air troops? Asks Ethan Wright, catching 16.5. They have not been as feisty. I think they're one of these underdogs who not overachieved in non-conference, but sort of played above their weight class. Minnesota comes to mind. Tarleton comes to mind. What do you think?
I think Joe Octave matters.
Tarleton.
So the fact that he's
Tarleton.
Octave's been out for a couple games.
Tarleton.
Are you done?
No, I'm not. Sorry. Go ahead.
I don't want to answer anymore. Screw you. No, I think Octave matters, and that's without him. They've been really struggling as a dog lately, so that's a problem. And maybe teams seeing them a second time through is troublesome because the zone and the offense doesn't throw teams off as much the second time.
Someone yelling at us for not talking about Duke. I don't really want to talk about Duke, Kai. They're laying 15 to Florida State, and this Florida State team is not like those we've seen in the past. It does feel like a big old honking number, though.
Yep, it's a big Texas-sized number, Matt, but I think Duke kills them. So I'm not going to take the points with Florida State.
I think
Revenge Duke and Florida State might not have 4 starters. Osborne, Polite, Mills, Evans could all be out.
It's not. I
didn't know about Mills and Evans. Gosh, that's a bloodbath.
Mills too. Yeah, that's right. Ryan A, another extra 2 fair here. Winthrop, UNC, Asheville, Prairie View, Arkansas, Peanut Butter, aka Arkansas Pine Bluff, Kai. I kind of like my Eagles and my Panthers. Your thoughts?
I guess I'll take the Pine Bluff one here. 6.5. That's like the perfect line. It's the perfect song, man.
How about a round of applause to the odds makers? Wow, what a great line.
I got nothing in that one. Prairie View A&M, man. What a frustrating team. They should have been dominant in this conference again this year, and they haven't been.
Jim, I got to throw you a Big Sky question. Weber State hosting Northern Colorado. Talked about how the D does not have the same home court juice we've used to seeing in the past. I've been stubbornly a fan of this Northern Colorado team, but they've been a little bit too inconsistent. Catching 6 on the road. Any takes here?
Probably a little bit of a lean towards Northern Colorado, but they're not very deep. I think the over's going to be a decent bet. This screams like 95 to 90 to me. I think it's a total shootout. Not a lot of defense played.
Don't hate that. I have, Drexel Elon just came at the horn. We'll talk about that, Kai. Sure. I was foolishly endorsing Elon last time. I said, it's too short. No, Elon's terrible now, Matt. You should have learned that lesson 2 weeks ago. They are a house of cards in collapse. I like the Dragons, laying 3.5 on the road.
I lean Elon plus 3.5. I think this is the spot where they're better.
Don't do what I just did.
I don't like Elon. I lean Elon. I'm not actually betting this game, but I lean towards the Phoenix.
Matt, Brad Evans just asked about Drake Loyola. I know you have a take there.
I do. I like me some Bulldogs there. Darian DeBreeze and the dog should be a feisty dog. Bark today.
Yeah, spread's too high.
In John Tell. It's just too high. I hopped in an 8 because I'm really sharp and
you are.
People like following my plays. No, 7's still worthy of a play. I would hop in at 7. Loyola is just not that good. Not been as dominant as a large favorite in conference play. Florida Auburn, probably worth discussing. This is the ultimate, don't overthink this. I think this line's way too short. Florida, only catching 3.5.
4.5. Yeah.
I know Auburn's not been as good away from home, Jim, but I think that's a wager for me.
Yeah. Florida's not a team I trust. If this is a team I trusted in the spot, maybe I'd back them, but Auburn hasn't won a road game by 5 points in a while. They won by 1 at Mizzou, won by 2 at Georgia, lost in overtime at Arkansas. Not been a good road team. So I don't know.
Jim, going back to you, UNLV out in your neck of the woods, they are hosting the Rams. Open Colorado State -3. Jim will be in attendance. It's been bet up to -4.5. Jim's presence in the gym is worth probably a point and a half. So it seems like the early money must be accounting for that, Jim. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, I think there's the road revenge here for Roddy and the boys. They're going to be angry about giving up 45 to Bryce Hamilton in the first meeting. I think the Rams get him back here and cover that spread as well.
I'm not going to entertain the Joe Perella teaser question. We do not do teasers. I'm sorry. Can't not endorse those in good faith. Did we talk about Oklahoma, Iowa State? Probably worth a discussion. I like the Cyclones at home.
Iowa State, I'll do.
Yep. That's it. Let's get the best bets.
Best bets. Hey, Matt, kick us off, man.
Sure. I'm taking, hold on. I had a request to no longer speak my best bets. We're going to try a little kind of a change up here. So I wrote this down on a piece of paper. So for those listening to this on the audio version, I guess I'll just reveal it at the very end at the horn. But for those watching live,
what it is. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Kai can say what my best bet is.
All right. Well, it's hard to read.
Good. Yeah.
It's hard to read, but it says Pepperdine. You got to hold to the camera, Matthew. Oh, there you go. Pepperdine. Let's get wavy, says Matthew. And that's +7 right now, I believe, for Pepperdine.
Yep.
Wow. +6 or higher. Hop in. Let's go low row and the boys of Malibu.
Okay. All right.
Malibu.
I'm nervous about the young boys after they gave a pretty immense effort against Gonzaga. Now they could potentially fall asleep there, but we'll see. I hope
coaching mismatch. I'm terrified of that. Yes. Portland's been awesome. I think it's too high. All right, Jim.
Recap. Both mine have been set already. Arkansas -2 and Georgia State, Georgia Southern under 133.5. Those are my two best bets today.
All right, guys. I'm going ETSU -1. East Tennessee State. They lost at home to Citadel. I think they returned the favor here. They led by 6.5. In the second half. Citadel hit 12 threes, 41% from three. Hopefully that goes down. ETSU, best free throw rate defense in the league, negates Citadel's ability to get to the line. ETSU's weakness is in the interior defensively. Citadel will not exploit that. ETSU hasn't been great lately, but I think they win this game. -1 Bucks.
Agreed. Right. Bucks there too.
Oh, thank you so much, Matthew. That does it for the show.
Please sign off now.
Thank you for joining us again. Hey, we're off tomorrow on Sunday as per our usual cadence. We will see you again on Monday at 12 Central. Please remember to hit the like button on our way out. Thank you to BetRivers, our sponsors. Thank you to Field 68. We will see